Call of Duty have just released a video and a blog post explaining everything you need to know about Gunsmith 2.0. It's kind of complicated, there's a huge amount of information, so in this video I'm going to try and simplify a bit, explain to you all of the things you need to know about it, and also point out a couple of the cool things that I've noticed that maybe have slipped by a couple of people. So, the way Gunsmith works, the big sort of basic part of it that works the same as it always has, you have 10 attachment slots on most weapons. It might be different on a few weapons. Then you can choose 5 attachments at a time. It's not like Vanguard where you can fill up all 10. You have to choose 5 like you had to in Modern Warfare 2019. So that's pretty much the same. The big difference is how those attachments are unlocked. You start off with an M4 in Modern Warfare 2. That's the first assault rifle you get. That's what they call a weapons platform. Now you can unlock attachments for the M4 just like you would normally by leveling up the gun. But then at some point you will unlock a receiver for it. Now when you unlock the receiver, that will actually change the gun into something else. So say for example an M16. Now all of those attachments you've already unlocked for the M4 will fit on the M16 because it's part of the same weapons platform. So that means you don't need to go through all of those attachments again, which is absolutely awesome. They've talked about trying to get rid of the repetition out of it. That sounds like that's what's going to happen. Now, there's some attachments like scopes and ammunition, underbarrels, foregrips and muzzles that you'll actually unlock for all weapons in Modern Warfare. Now, they say all weapons. I'm pretty sure you won't be able to put like a sniper scope on a Magnum or something like that. I don't know, maybe they will let you do that. I don't know. But they've said all weapons. So the idea is that maybe if you unlock the equivalent of the monolithic suppressor, which is something you kind of wanted on everything in Modern Warfare 2019, you won't have to unlock that on every gun. Every time a new gun's released, you won't have to unlock it. You'll already have it because that's just an attachment that fits on everything. But the stuff that's unique to a weapons platform, that will just work on all of the other guns that share that platform. Now, apparently the receivers will turn assault rifles into SMGs, LMGs, DMRs. You'll be able to change them into quite a lot of different types of guns. It sounds like there'll be special weapons platforms for like sniper rifles and shotguns, things like that. They said that there's going to be some weapons platforms that only have one weapon in them. So the RPG, for example, or there's like a cowboy, something like a Mark II rifle, they called it. I'm guessing it's one of those rifles where you have like a lever action thing that you pull down. Something like that won't share many attachments with anything else. Maybe some of the ammunition types, maybe the scopes and things like that. But this all sounds really cool so far. Now, some of the other details they've revealed about Gunsmith are that there doesn't seem to be any sliders anymore. This is something that when they did the first reveal for Modern Warfare 2, they told the creators about, and they said, yeah, on Gunsmith there's going to be these sliders, so maybe you'll be able to change the barrel length in like gradients and say, okay, do you want more stopping power and bullet velocity, or do you want better handling? And you could fine tune it. Looks like that's completely gone. There's no mention of it at all in this. It's not in any of the videos. They've also not got very detailed numbers for the statistics. In Vanguard, you've got some like advanced information about them. That seems like that's kind of gone as well, which would be kind of annoying, although probably good for people like True Game Data and JGod who test all of this stuff. It will give people a reason to want to use their sites and their videos for sure. There's some really exciting stuff. Like they said, there's going to be a firing range. Now, they haven't given much information about that. They've said there'll be more about it at CODNEXT, but I could imagine it being something like, okay, you've got a firing range, target to different ranges, maybe a vehicle. You can have some of the targets with armor on, some of them not. And it would be awesome if when you shoot them, it gave you information about how much damage you did, like precisely. Maybe even things like the DPS, you know, time you shooting an entire magazine, tell you how much damage that did. And then hopefully you'll be able to change the loadout while you're still in the firing range, rather than having to like back out into a menu, then go back into it. If you can change it on the fly, that's going to be an absolute game changer for trying to work out your loadout, trying to work out the best loadout for you, and also making content about loadouts. That's going to be absolutely incredible. Hopefully they'll set up like a green screen in one corner of the firing range so I can get lots of nice things for thumbnails from it. That would be awesome. Now, some of the other things that have changed with Gunsmith 2.0 are the cosmetics. So we still have blueprints that work exactly the same way they have in Vanguard, where, you know, you get a blueprint for a gun and certain attachments will have a certain look with them. That's fine. But then there's also this new thing called vaults, which you've probably heard of before because it's one of the pre-order bonuses if you order the fancy edition. Vaults are basically like a blueprint, but for all of the attachments on that gun. So if you have a vault for that gun, it doesn't matter what attachments you put on, it will still match that aesthetic. So that's super cool. I'm guessing those will be a lot rarer because that sounds like an insane amount of work for any engineers who are working on it, but that is a thing they're doing. They also talked about camo challenges, that they wanted to kind of streamline that a bit, make them a bit more doable, make them a bit more normal, because those got a bit crazy in games like Vanguard. So you will be able to unlock camos with challenges that are a bit more interesting, maybe make a bit more sense. But they also said people who want to grind out, who want a journey to the mastery camo, so like Damascus, that's still going to be there too. Now, there's plenty of other little snippets in the blog and in the video. We see a couple of kill streaks, but they're not really interesting. It's like the UAV and the Predator missile and some sort of airstrike. We see a new tactical called like a shock stick. I'm not sure if that's something that you'll throw or maybe a melee thing. Maybe it'll stun people for a brief second. Not really sure how that's going to work, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Also, we see this weird sort of perk tree type thing where it looks like you pick a perk group rather than just choosing what individual perks. It'll be interesting to see whether that's just something for the beta because, you know, you won't have all of the perks unlocked, or whether that's actually something maybe they'll give us less control about it. So, you know, you'll have to choose one set of perks, so then maybe they can balance it a little bit better. You know, you can pick something that's got a really good perk in it and a couple of rubbish ones, or maybe you'll pick one thing that's got 3 very average perks. Who knows how that'll work? I'm sure we'll get more details at CODNEXT. Now, speaking of CODNEXT, that's coming up tomorrow as of when I'm recording this video. I'll be streaming the whole thing at twitch.tv/geekypastimes. I'll be like reacting to everything, discussing it with the community. After the trailers and stuff, we'll be stopping them, breaking them down, getting everything we can out of them, just really analyzing the whole thing. And of course, then I'll be playing the beta the next day over at YouTube right here. So make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on. And while you're doing that, don't forget to like this video. Thanks so much and goodbye.